Welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. Join me as we explore spirituality, self-help, and channeling spirits. Hello and welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium. Thank you for tuning in for another very interesting deep dive of an episode. As in this week's show, we're going to be looking into the topic of questioning the mind. Also in this week's episode, we have the channeling from the world of spirit, which sees me becoming a vessel for spirit to bring their wisdoms and communications forward. And then we have a sneaky peek into this week's energy forecast reading. So sit tight, buckle up, and join in with this show. Again, we're talking about today questioning the mind. It's quite a big subject, this, and I realize we're only going to be scratching the surface of it. But nevertheless, hopefully it will help your curiosity to maybe dive a little bit deeper. So what are we talking about? Questioning the mind. Well, let's scroll back and let's start at the beginning. First of all, we are all transmitters and receivers of information. That's quite a bold statement, isn't it? And what I mean by that is that the energy that is swirling around us on a daily basis, we're either adding to that thick soup of information and vibration, or we're extracting from it, or we're multitasking and doing both. But basically that's what we are. We're picking up and we're sending information. As we know, thoughts are energy. And so when we connect in with energy, with information, we read it. It's, if we can use the analogy of modern day technology like the internet and the mobile phone. I mean, how many of you've been somewhere where there's no signal and you're wanting to watch a YouTube video? Yes, you have the technology in your hand, you have the capability, and but there's no information coming in. It's not picking up that video. You're not being able to watch it. So this is kind of an analogy that without us being aware of information, we can't receive it, so to speak. And what I mean by this, by having a discipline in our mind, we can choose whether we want to hear a piece of information or whether we don't want to embody that information. I'm probably going off on a tangent now. I do realize that. But basically, thoughts are energy. And they are in the ether, and we can pick up on other people's thoughts, other people's ideas in the collective. I mean, how many times have we heard from famous inventors say that they just relaxed and the idea came to them out of nowhere, out of the blue? Also, artists and musicians, when they're quizzed, how did you get the inspiration for this song? And it was like, I don't know, it just comes. I have to be in a certain state of mind, relaxed, and it just comes, it flows. I can't force these things to happen. They just happen. And I would say it's because you're getting into alignment and you're receiving that information. You're allowing yourself to receive that information. Now, I would say with songs, with art, with inventions, there is that possibility, because that information is out in the ether, that several people can pick up on that at the same time, and then they will fight over copyright and things of that nature. But it is there, isn't it? It is there. And it's usually the one that is more relaxed and picks up on that information and then runs with it and trusts it, that usually gets their name with the copyright after whatever it is they've worked upon. So it's interesting, that, isn't it? I find it, the fact that some of the greatest songs ever written by musical artists potentially could also have been written by a non-known individual who happen to be connecting into that frequency field, that thought vibration at that same time. But maybe they had personal doubts or issues and they thought, you know what, no, I'm not into that. I don't know anybody in the music industry. I'm just going to sit on the fence with this idea. And then lo and behold, that comes out and it becomes famous. And it's like, what? That's my idea. Well, I would say it's a collective idea, and it's whoever has the courage to move with it and pursue it further. But anyway, we digress. So I would say we all experience this, and we all have an internal monologue. And what I mean by that, it's that voice in your head that's similar to your speaking voice. And when you're having thoughts, you can hear that internal monologue. So most of us, when we're planning out our day, will be in our minds thinking, oh, I've got to be at work by this time. Then I've got break time at this time. I've got this to do after work. I've got to go shopping. What's on the shopping list? And we run through it in our mind. Let's see, have we got this? And we can hear our little internal monologue voice replaying all of that out to us. And we're merely observing that voice as we're thinking. It's quite an amazing experience if we really give ourselves time to analyze this process. I find it intriguing, certainly do. And the reason why I bring that up, the internal monologue, if you're a medium or you're hypersensitive, usually in the case, they call it clear audience, where you hear, not just with your physical ears, but you can hear that internal monologue that I speak of in your own tone of voice, and then you get a response. You get a response in a different tone of voice, ushering you information to you, guidance, wisdom. And now I know that this treads a fine line because there are people that do suffer with mental health issues, and it has been said that they hear voices telling them to do this, telling them to do that and the other. And I would say I'm no mental health expert whatsoever. But I would say in terms of energy, they're picking up on an energy frequency that perhaps is of a lower vibration, that has formed a bond and attachment with that individual and is placing, shall we say, information in their head to get them to do certain things that aren't necessarily good or productive in any way. Now, your spirit guide, if your spirit guide was giving you that information, they wouldn't tell you what to do as such. They would suggest, they would give you a suggestion, and it would be your choice. It would be your choice whether you do it or whether you don't, whether you listen, whether you don't. And I believe, from what I understand and what I've heard, that if somebody's experiencing mental health issues and they say that they're hearing these voices to do this and do that, otherwise this will happen, I would say potentially that could be a lower base frequency and energy that's linking in and tapping into their vibration in order to pull their vibration down so they can feed off of that fear vibration and all of that disturbance that mental health can have an effect on the physical body and the energetic body. As I say, I'm no expert. I'm just giving you my observations on that one. So anyway, moving on, I would say it is to your benefit, obviously, to have a strong understanding of who you are. Now, strong understandings of who we are, what we're talking about there, we're talking about knowing what you like, your favorite colors, your favorite music, what your personality is like. Oh, I don't like that because I'm quite loud. All of these examples, I like to be chatty. I like to communicate with people. I don't like to be quiet or sit in the quiet. I'm not speaking about myself. I'm just giving random examples. But getting to know yourself, your choices that you make. Oh, I don't like those trainers because, I prefer this brand and I prefer that brand. Again, I'm just giving you bold examples there. We could dive very, very deeper in just you as an individual making choices. So have an understanding of who you are. And I want to say, don't shift who you are in order to fit in with other people's opinions of you or their ideals of you. That is their perception of you. Instead, continue knowing who you are, standing confident, standing your truth, and continue walking on that path. And the reason why I say this, having a good, strong understanding of who you are will give you that understanding of the thoughts that you are receiving and that you are transmitting from your mind out into the ether, out into the consciousness of energy. And with this being the case, as we know, as we previously said, all of this energy, thoughts are energy, and they continue to exist, they continue to evolve and exist. We can pick up on that. How many times have you just had a eureka moment, an idea that's popped in your head out of nowhere? You was just in a comfortable space in your mind, not really thinking about anything. Then all of a sudden you get this, that would be a great idea. That would save me time. That would save me energy. I would say potentially it could go either way. You could be connecting in with collective energy. You could also be connecting in with your higher self or your spirit guides, and they're offering up some suggestions to you. And again, when we get these ideas, we have the opportunity to observe them, first of all, to write them down, to record them, speak them in. I don't know, a phone nowadays, you have the voice note recorder there, so you can do that, because usually they're fleeting moments and they come in and they go as quickly as they come in. So snap that opportunity if you feel inclined to do so. And then it's when you run with it, that's when you can make choices and make changes in your life and bring that idea into action, isn't it? So I would say, I'm going around in circles really with this conversation, but sometimes we have to get to the point, and I'm just running with it. Okay. So I would say being the observer, getting to know who you are as an individual is important. And observing the thoughts that are in your mind already, and the thoughts that are being released out of your mind, and the thoughts that you are picking up on in your mind. Some are good ideas, some are bad. Sometimes the mind can go in a loop and we can't seem to shake something out of our mind. I mean, most of us have experienced worry or anxiety on some level. And this is where we get stuck in a mind loop, and we're going around in circles, and we try and have a more positive thought. And yet the energy, the power is within this loop, and it takes a great deal of focus to get out of that mental loop that's maybe keeping us stuck, stagnant, or feeling low in our vibrations. So it's observing what's happening in the mind. And I would say, as a third party, observing these things occurring rather than attaching yourself to them and investing your focus in and holding that focus in on each thought. Observe it and question it. Why am I thinking this? Is this true? Is this my thought? This thought's come from nowhere. And go down a similar line of questioning, where you observe the reactions, what your body is giving you whilst you're having these thoughts. And what I mean by this is that your body will give you, I would say, an inkling of information if that thought is genuine, if it's productive, if it's true. Your body will let you know if you have come into alignment with that vibration. And what I mean by that, when we get into alignment with an idea or a thought, and it generally, excites us, we feel curious, we feel comfortable by thinking more about it. And the more we think about it, the more excitable we feel, and we feel the energy building up. we feel our intuition kicking in, and we feel that magnetic pull, that calling that's connecting us and allowing us to hold that vibration in our minds for longer. I'm talking about that. I'm basically saying that when we have a thought, when we're the third-party observer of that thought, if we're not getting that alignment with our physicality, with those feelings, then it's time not to invest any more of your time and attention on that thought, because it's not serving you. It is taking you off your path. It is taking you out of alignment. It is zapping you of energy. It's taking your headspace up. And we've all had experiences where we get these things in our mind. And, it could even be people, places, objects, things, projects, and we allow them to sit in our mind and take up that space because we feel responsible that we need to do this and we need to do that. But, sometimes it will pay you actually to be that third party, observe that thought, feel into it. Is this true? Do I need to be thinking this? Do I need to be holding space for this energy in my mind? Is it zapping me of my creativity by holding this thought in my mind? And so by going in this line of questioning and feeling into it, we can then get a feeling and a vibration, whether it's true or whether it's false. Obviously, if it's true, it will flow, it will feel good, you'll get that excitement, and you'll want to know more, so you'll question more. If it isn't in alignment, if it's not ringing true, then you will feel like you want to avoid even looking into that. You'll also feel very low, very heavy vibration, unmotivated. You'll feel stuck. You'll feel frustrated. Sometimes anger can come to the surface, and you can feel even guilt can come to the surface as well when something's not ringing true and aligning. So do watch out for those little tells from your physical and emotional body. They will help you to decipher what is your thoughts for one, what is somebody else's thoughts for another. Because as I say, we're all transmitters and receivers of energy and information. So sometimes, with this being said, we can pick up on other people's thoughts and mistake them for our own. And this is where I'd encourage you to actually use this technique of questioning this thought. Why am I thinking this? I don't normally think this way. I'm not a negative person. I would never think that. And so I would say to question the thought, first of all, and then to backtrack and recognize, where was I when I started to think this thought? Who was I with when I was starting to think this thought? What is that personality like? Are they in a good place? Are they in a bad place? Am I potentially picking up on their thought energy and mistaking it for my own? Well, obviously, if you don't normally think that way and you question it and it's not ringing true, it's not aligning with you, and you continue that line of questioning and it's still not sitting right with you. And you can do this in a matter of seconds in your mind as a third-party observer rather than latching into a thought. So it doesn't take long at all. It's just having that discipline. And you can decipher whether it is your energy or not. And obviously, if it isn't, then you make that choice not to give it any more of your thought space, your head space, any more of your energy, and you let it go. And the way that you do that is by thinking of a thought of something better. Most of us use a thought, for example, something that brings us joy, that makes us happy, something that takes us out of that lower vibration. It could be something that you're wanting to manifest. It might be something as simple as, I can't wait till tea time because I'm having this for my tea. I love that food. It's my favorite. That will take you out of attaching your energy to thoughts that don't belong to you, or even thinking about what you're going to do over the next few days, maybe over the weekend, and you're making plans in your mind. Just traversing your thoughts to something better will get you from assigning your energy to them. Like I say, when it feels right, when everything comes into alignment, when a thought, an idea, I mean, we've all had inspiration and ideas come to us. As you know, myself, I'm a very creative person. I'm a musician, I'm a producer, TV, audio and multimedia. And I find that the ideas come to me when I allow myself space of nothingness. And normally I'm very busy, as most of you know. I fill the gaps in. I've got this client, that client. I'm doing this work, that work. But I make a point of holding some space, of inactivity. And it is in those moments that the opportunity for inspiration can come in. And I get some rather weird and wonderful ideas. Some of them are a little bit ludicrous and a little bit out there. And I think, well, how am I going to make that work? But anyway, nevertheless, my point being is I hold space for these thoughts to come in. And then if it feels good to me, if it excites me, if I find myself getting goosebumps, and then I am being shown the next step of the journey in relation to that inspiration, how I can bring it into form from nowhere to now here, then when I'm getting that process percolating through my mind, at that point, I will make a note in my phone, or I will speak it into my phone, and I will commit to it. And then I will come back to that idea a little bit later on. And if it still rings true, if it still holds that excitement for me that it did, then I will take it the next step further and I will pursue it further in order to bring that, whatever it is, from nowhere to now here. And it's with that focused intention and alignment that gets these ideas, these inspirations into this dimension. So I do that, and I do that with a lot of my creative endeavors. I was saying earlier about other songwriters, a lot of them say that, you can't force it. It just has to come. Sometimes when I'm working in the studio and I'll start off with a blank composition. Okay. And first of all, I'll find the tempo, so the pace of the song, and I'll hear that click track. I'll get the tempo that feels in alignment with me. And the next minute I'll hear a drum beat in my head. And again, if it excites me, I'll start and produce a drum beat and lay that down into the session. The next thing, I will start to hear in my head a bass line that complements those drums, and it pulses, it pulls, it weaves in and out of that drum beat. And if it excites me and I get the chills, I will lay that down. And sometimes, like I say, inspiration can work this way for me when I'm working in the studio. I turn up with no idea what I'm going to do, and just by holding space, listening to what I've laid down in the studio, I get inspiration for something else. And then these layers of sounds and ideas and melodies begin to fall onto the session. And then finally, with a vocal line, if I get a vocal line, to me, it starts off with a melody. So I may hear a hook, like a do-do-do-do-do, just for an example. And I will record me just singing or humming that hook, just with no lyrics, just do-do-bu-bu-bu over the top of the music. And I would say it's after all of those elements are together that then I'll listen to the vocal hook, and then I will be inspired by the lyrics that come through, and the subject matter of the song, and that starts to fall. And then that's worked into the melody. So obviously the words flow with one another and has a resonance and also has a meaning. that makes sense. So for me personally, it's a beautiful experience to watch inspiration come from nowhere to now here. And that's all based around what I've been talking about today, about questioning the thoughts, questioning the mind, and having that discipline. And when I'm in the zone, in the studio creating, I'm not thinking about tomorrow. I'm not thinking about, I've got lots of jobs to do around the house. I'm in the present moment with that composition and holding space and being open to receiving inspiration. And I'm having the thoughts in my head, does that sound good? Will that work with that? Let's give it a try. And I'm having this process. So yeah, you can use this creative way of thinking in anything that you do, whether this is in art, fashion, creating hairstyles, by questioning the ideas. Does it align with you? Does it excite you? And then committing to it by focusing on it and doing it and bringing it into form and giving it a go. It can create some absolutely beautiful results if you trust and get in alignment with the vibration of the thought. Obviously, if, like I said earlier, if that thought doesn't have weight, it doesn't hold true, it fizzles out after a few lines of questioning, or it doesn't even pass the chill test, where you get the goosebumps. If it doesn't pass that, then, don't waste your time on it. Move on. Keep that energy flowing. Keep that inspiration coming in. Making a choice, obviously, is very important. A lot of us find it difficult because we're overwhelmed with the choices that are available to us. Our mind may be going round in circles or doing somersaults. Our mind may be thinking about the people in question. If I choose this will have an impact on this person, and what will they think of me? And, we go down various rabbit holes, don't we, with our thinking. And sometimes we've just got to be brave and courageous and go for it, and just give it a go. Again, the techniques I've shared with you, feeling into a thought will help you from overthinking, getting anxious, getting angry and frustrated. I would say it's a quick route to get you out of that vibration. So the next time that you are overwhelmed, maybe first of all, feel into it. Okay, does that thought hold weight? Does it resonate? If it doesn't, then quite quickly make that choice not to give it your time and attention. However, if it does, and it does excite you, this is where I would employ you getting a pen and paper, and you write whatever thought that you have down. And then if there's other things going around in your mind, write those down. And sometimes when we see things on paper, we can assess them and analyze them a lot clearer. And we can then sort of see, why am I giving surely my priority is that thought. That should come first. And we can put them in some sort of order that is manageable for us and gets the work done, gets the thoughts from nowhere into now here. I could be referring to the creative process in your life. You could apply this just general life, family. If you have children, a lot of you will know as parents that you have to think for them a lot of the time, and give them that guidance, that support, whilst also navigating your own life at the same time, and your surroundings, and paying your bills, and bringing in the income, and paying. It's never ending, isn't it? So this is where we can get overwhelmed, and this is sometimes where we can lead towards a potential breakdown of being overwhelmed. And this is usually the body slows down. The body lets us know ahead of us having that breakdown. So look out for the signs. The tools are there. Put things into priority order. If it aligns with you, pursue it. If it doesn't, then don't. And you can work on that principle with people in your life as well. If you align with people, then obviously pursue it. If you don't and they make you feel uncomfortable, then, just put it to one side and focus on you for a while. And that's not a selfish thing. As I said at the beginning, getting to know yourself is paramount where your mind and your life is concerned. So, you'll actually will be paying it forward by doing that. Also, I'd like to talk about with this that your mind is obviously a tool. It's a tool. I see it as we are a computer. We are a living, walking computer. And the mind is a processing unit. Really, where the choices, where the decisions are happening are via our soul. And our soul can only exist in this dimension, living the life as we're living it through our physical body. And so it needs a processing unit to collate all of this information. If you imagine we smell, we taste, we touch, we feel, we sense, we speak, we hear, we think, we have a knowing. All of this information needs a main processing unit. And obviously that is our mind, our brain. That helps us to navigate our way through the twists and turns that our life is offering up to us, where we have to focus. So with this being said, it's good to realize that and know that you have always had and always will have the power of choice. Some of the choices we make aren't necessarily great ones that we have to make. Some are very negative. Some of the choices excite us and bring us joy. But there will always be, in my opinion, a part of your higher self, your soul, that will be helping you and encouraging you ways of making that decision-making process a lot easier than you're making it for yourself. So relax into it. Be the third party. Observe. And notice if you are aligning with it or whether it is pulling your energy down. That's all I can say on the matter, really. I know I've only, like I say, scratched the surface of this topic. But if anything, I hope it's made you curious about your mind and how powerful of a tool it is. And when you apply yourself, your focus, and you align with vibration, and you feel it in your physical presence as well, it can have a dramatic impact on your life, a very positive one, where no longer will you be stuck, treading water, having blocks, where you're not allowing yourself to move forward. By taking this responsibility back, it will help you to get into alignment. It will help you to make more positive choices and to commit to them for once and all, and to create the life that you've truly desired for such a long time, but potentially your mind has kept you from obtaining it. Anyway, I'm going to leave you on that note. Quite literally, I'm going to leave you to question your mind after you've listened to this episode. How is everybody doing? I'd like to tune in with you all and see what you've been up to this week and if you've noticed any significant changes in your vibration. I don't know about anybody else, but I've certainly been observing over this past week that I've been a little bit distant mentally. It's been feeling like I've been coming in and out of body, so to speak. I'm aware of the surroundings, but I'm not part of it. It's a most peculiar feeling. But with that being said, it makes sense because I have been doing a lot of trance mediumship work and channeling work and also helping others with that. So it's no wonder I'm feeling these frequency and energy shifts. But I do feel as though there's an element of that that's also out there in the collective. So I just wanted to ask, basically, if anybody else has been noticing that. 1 minute you're here, The next minute, you're not. It's like you're observing it through your eyes, but it doesn't feel like your eyes. It's almost as if there's this slight detachment with your soul and your physical body. It's very peaceful. My experience, it's been very blissful, and it's been very healing for me, mentally and emotionally. Being in this vibration, I found it. It's just been an unusual time this week. Also, I've found that life definitely seems to be going fast, going slow, and it's quite peculiar how things are working in that respect. Before we know it, we're back at the weekend again. That seems to be my experience, and it's like, for me, where is October going? Already we're near to the end of October, and it's like, what? Where's that time gone? It's a very peculiar time that we're living in. Also, I've been observing that I had a particular craving this week for sweet things, sweet foods. And I reached a point only yesterday, and I thought, you know what? This is not making me feel very good at all. I feel a little bit groggy, feel a little bit, and so I've made this conscious decision that I'm going to slowly remove some of those foods out of my weekly diet in order to retain that balance in my frequency and energy, and actually tune in a little bit more to energy when I need to, rather than relying on some of these foods to enable me to have that quick fix with the energy there. One of my vices, as you probably know, I've probably mentioned it several times over, this is like chocolate. Oh, I absolutely adore it. But I'm having to be disciplined and just say, nope, you don't need that. Nope, you're not having that because it makes you feel like this. So I've had that this week. How's everybody else been feeling with your relationship with food? Have you noticed any changes? Are you feeling tired or fed up of certain foods and you're not getting the sustenance you need from them? And maybe like me, you've used certain foods as a crutch, to give you that additional boost of energy or relaxation. It's there, isn't it? Also, I've been observing this week that the veil does seem more thinner. Obviously, we're coming to the end of October, Halloween, All Hallows Eve, as it's also called. And this has said that the veil does thin, and so the world of spirit and energy find it a lot easier in order to communicate and make their presence known in and around us. I've been finding, for me personally, a very quick connection with my guides. And in fact, only today, I was at the gym and I bumped into someone there. And before I know it, I was giving them a little bit of a reading from spirit. Now, this is something that I don't normally do. But as I was saying to that individual that, if it's meant, then it will find a way to get to you. So I feel the reason why it's come through today is because you needed to hear that information and also pass the additional information on to those parties connected with you. So that was quite unusual because I was all sweaty there in the gym gear. And the next minute, I was receiving information very quick, no hesitation. So obviously, as most mediums will tell you, the information's not for you to hang on to. So you have to give it. You have to release it. You have to let it go to where it is intended to be. So I've noticed that. Potentially, could be because the veil is thinning, also because that individual needed to hear that and needed that healing at that moment in time, and I was the nearest individual to give that. So yeah, it's been a rather unusual week for me this week. So I just wanted to touch base with you all and see how your week has gone, and if you've noticed any of the similarities to what I've been sharing with you in this part of the show. Speaking of parts, we're now going to move into the next segment of the show, which is this week's channeling from the world of spirit, which sees me blending my energy with a spirit communicator and allowing them to bring their story, their wisdom, their guidance, and their healing through. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's channeling from Spirit.
My name is Thomas Michelson, Thomas Henry Michelson, and I passed away in 1957. I hailed from London, and the reason why I've been elected to come forward today is to give you some information about overlays, energies, and frequency. A lot of you will be aware that these things are changing in your dimension. And with this, we are referring to us in the world of spirit, are gathering around you to support you and give you guidance, healing, and information through these very transformative stages of the Earth's awakening. With this being said, some of us are elected, chosen, if you will, to step forward and overshadow your energy field. And in many cases, we help you to go through the abnormalities, the changes, shall we say, abnormality. We cannot rephrase that properly. Do forgive us. But we overlay in order for you to accept and move through this thick, treacle-like energy. How we go about doing this is we connect in with your auric field, your aura, and we align vibrationally our frequency, our energy field, and we overshadow your frequency. And with this being the case, the purpose in doing this, as we say, is to help you move through this treacle-like vibration as the Earth is changing and moving through these transformative times. There's a lot of truths coming up to the surface that are triggering a lot of you, because these truths were obviously hidden from you all, and the shock of hearing them and seeing and witnessing them can be most alarming to a lot of you. And we do not wish you to deviate from the ascension process. Yes, we want you to be aware of these truths, but we do not wish you to go back to devolution. That's the word we were looking for. We want you to ascend on your current trajectory, timeline. And so we overshadow you in order to protect, guide, and to get you moving in your life. Some of you will have experienced time changing, the elasticity of your experience of time. And you'll find that you'll go through periods of your life where time is speeding up, and then time slowing down. This is us with our influence to help you stay connected to your truth. Now, we'll also say that a lot of people that know you in your dimension, in various phases of your life, will see different versions of yourself. Some of those versions are far removed from who you are as an individual and your characteristics. Yet you will appear to visually look the same, but there's something different about you. And we say it's in these times that we honor our purpose in, as we've said previously, align with your vibrations and overshadow you, and some of our characteristics are present, and these people are observing them. So they're not wrong. Don't shoot them down. You as an individual won't always realize when you are being overshadowed. We don't wish to sound negative by using that term, overshadowing you. Please know that only the highest, truest vibrations are allowed to do this. And those of you that are listening to this show, you have made an agreement for this to occur. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been allowed to blend our energies with yours. You will also experience changes with your knowledge base, and you'll start speaking about information that you had no clue of. This is also a sign that you are being overshadowed, and you are being, shall we use a modern day phrase, micromanaged. You're being helped. It's not a form of possession, so please do not be alarmed by the words that we share with you. It is simply us helping you through this transformative time. Now, with this being the case, we do not wish to alarm, frighten you in any way, but we want you to know that a lot of you will be changing directions in terms of your career and purpose. And know those of you that are listening to this broadcast will always receive what you need in order to live and thrive in this dimension whilst you're doing the work, whilst you are a vessel for light, a placeholder of light. A lot of you listening to this transmission will be emanating the pure vibrations of light, the ascension codes which are spread far and wide from your current location, and you'll have such a dramatic impact on so many, even though you will not realize it, because you have been designed to be humble and stay undetected whilst this transformation process is taking place. At times you will worry, at times you will get anxious, of course you will. You will observe, like most of the population, the dramatic shifts and changes. But we assure you, at that moment in time, we always step in and we calm your vibration. We steady you, we ground you, we anchor you, and we reassure you that you are going to be more than all right. We are sorry that this is a short transmission, but we wished to be heard and for you to understand what is happening behind the scenes to a lot of you listening to this transmission. Many will be familiar with the practice of trance, mediumship, channeling spirit. In fact, that's what is happening through the vessel at this moment in time. And that is increasing around the globe. There's going to be lots of angelic and spiritual and galactic communities taking this opportunity now to blend and step forward and help nurture humanity and planet Earth through this shift in consciousness. You are nearly there, but over the next 18 months from now, you are going to witness and experience the greatest show that Mother Earth has ever had the pleasure of presenting, and you all have the best seats in order to witness this change. You are all going to be safe, guided and protected. All we ask of you is to remain calm, to trust and relax. It's Sounds easy, doesn't it, when you say it out loud? And we assure you it is as easy as you think it is. You think otherwise, then that will be your experience. But trust is the main word. Surrender is a great word as well. Knowing that everything is going to work out beautifully for you. For now, we bid you a farewell, as we have enjoyed our time here speaking with you all. We hope that you take great comfort from these words that we share with you. We leave you with our love and our resonance. Goodbye for now.
Again, another fantastic communication there from the world of spirit. Very timely put as well, I think, with the information that was shared about overlaying our vibration, our energy, that spirit are around us. They're not just leaving us dangling, and they're moving into our auric field in order to give us some help, give us some guidance through these challenging and very unusual times that we are all experiencing here on planet Earth. So that is very encouraging to hear that, isn't it? To know that we are not alone and that we are being helped through it. It was interesting to hear that they certainly help us through some of the difficult times that we're all facing, either on an individual basis or collectively. And rather than getting stuck in the mire of that horrible vibration where we're treading water and we just feel like we're powerless, we have this beautiful connection, this team behind us from spirit that are sort of championing us on and saying, come on, you've got this. Even though we may not hear them directly, on an energetic level, from what was said there, they're giving us that influence to keep on moving forward. With them also mentioning the truth vibrations are coming up. I'm sure we'll all agree with that, particularly what's happening globally as well. With all aspects of life, we're being triggered, aren't we, by some of these things with the truth vibration. And it's nice to hear that spirit, the purpose why they are around us, our spirit guides, helpers, family, is to stop these distractions from pulling us away from our soul path. And instead, they're going to hold us strong in our vibration so that we continue to thrive and shine and expand our consciousness in the ever-changing world that we live in. I found it interesting that they spoke of time is very elastic at this moment. It's speeding up 1 minute and then it's slowing down the next. And it was nice to hear that they are influencing our perception of time to get us through these rather unusual times that a lot of us are observing at this moment. And also very encouraging reminder that we are all making a dramatic shift and a difference on this planet by living our truth. So I really enjoyed that communication from that communicator there. So now we're going to move into a sneaky peek into this week's energy forecast reading. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hello, my name is Glenn Boddice and I'm a spiritual medium, and welcome to this week's energy forecast reading for the week commencing Monday the 27th of October 2025. Now, those of you that have watched me work before will know that I connect with my spirit guides and helpers and also consult the wisdom of the angel tarot cards. So what I'm about to do is just shuffle the pack and allow a card to come out for this week's forecast reading. Okay, so here is your card. I'm now going to link into the vibration of that. First of all, I'm hearing communication is key this week, as it is very important for you to open up and let people in. Also, you've got to have a good listening ear about yourself. There's something to do with interaction, and there's going to be more of that happening to you from now on, from this week carrying on. I'm also being told that you need to make a very important decision about what path you are treading in your life, because I feel as though there's old things, old ways of being that are going to be released, Once you've made that decision, and this will clear the way for this new opportunity for you to walk through. I've also got the sense that this week will see you feeling slightly lethargic as well. And there's a need for you to take cat naps or mini breaks when you can, just to top up your energy. Because what you have been doing is supplementing your energy with higher energy based foods. So this week we'll see you moving away from that and just listening to your body. There's also some energy upgrade. This is the end of the free version of the weekly forecast reading. If you would like to see the entirety of this week's forecast reading, then you can do that by subscribing. And as a subscriber, what you will receive is the full version of the weekly forecast reading. You will also receive the audio for the weekly radio show, and also you'll receive 10% off all of my spiritual services there. So this includes all of the readings there for you to benefit from. And also you will receive new updates and information and news of what's happening with myself and the services that I provide, and also the events that I take part in. You'll hear all about that ahead of everybody else. And this is because you're a subscriber to Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium. So you can find a link either above or below this video, where by clicking on the link, you can then become a subscriber to reap all of the benefits that I've described to you. So I look forward to having you on this journey with me as a Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium subscriber. Thank you for taking time to watch this video and supporting the work that Spirit and myself work together in doing so. Well, it certainly sounds very intriguing, that little bit of guidance that we received from the forecast reading. Again, just to remind you, like the advert said, if you are wanting to hear the full version, then come and be a subscriber. Head over to my website, www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com, and you can get to hear those every single week, the full versions. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode, and I know we've dived, well, pretty deep, but we've also scratched the surface. You could go deeper with the topic we spoke about today. But if anything, I hope it's made you curious to observe your own meanderings in your mind and to question them and to align with them. And in order for you to move through any blocks that you're going through, if that is subconscious or subconscious, question them. And you'll find by doing that, life will seem to flourish and flow for you, where once it remained stagnant. Also, I hope you've enjoyed the channeling in this week's episode. Very, very interesting. I did like the fact that we're being helped, we're being guided, we're being overshadowed, and there's nothing to worry about. We are being guided through these rather unusual times that we're all observing on planet Earth. And in many respects, I've heard from my guides and many, many other people in spirit that have said, you know, you are all here for a reason at this moment in time. You're here to witness the greatest show on Earth. Many souls have taken the opportunity to incarnate during this time in order to see this great collective shift unfolding throughout your planet. So I feel very honored, very privileged, even though sometimes life can throw you a curveball now and again, and you have to navigate your way past that. So I'm yet to see the full explanation of what is going to unfold. I've been told various parts, but I guess we've just got to wait and be patient and know that we are safe, guided and protected. So if you would like to get in touch with me and the show to share some of your stories, or if you have any questions, then again, go over to my website, www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com, or you can email me at glennboddice@live.co.uk, and it would be amazing to hear from you and help you on your quest and on your spiritual journey. But for now, join me the same place, same time next week, 4 p.m. on all of my social media and my website with this very show, From Beyond with Glenn Boddice. God bless everybody. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to From Beyond. For more information about what products and services Glenn provides, go to glennbodicespiritualmedium.com.